Alrighty, let's get started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, October 21. Let's get right into it. So, starting from the top, let's go over the trade that we are currently in. They are buys on CAD JPY. We basically 2 weeks ago had an extremely strong buy that created this higher high right here. And then we had a pullback week, retesting the weekly EMA. And then this week opened and we had a reaction off of the daily EMA. Daily time frame is bullish, and 4 hour time frame created this head and shoulders. I entered a little early, but I entered above the 1 hour EMA. Price basically came back, retested previous structure, 1 hour EMA, and started to push off of it very, very nicely. I guess there was a secondary entry available right here. I probably wouldn't have entered off of that because it was actually a very, very aggressive pullback. But as you can see, price action is currently bullish. We had quite nice structure to the downside, shifted above the EMA, and we should now just continue to buy. My main target is going to be right here, this daily structure point, I think, to round it all off nicely. I picked 109,500 as the main for the final take profit for this trade. That would be a 1 to 7.4, 1 to 7.5. So pretty good return on the position overall. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there are many profit targets. There's some here. I mean, we're already halfway there at a 1 to 3 basically. So I'm going to continue to hold. Stop loss is already at break even, so it's a risk-free trade. And I like the way we've already pulled back to create another leg to the upside, and we should see a continuation over the next couple of hours. So we'll see how that plays out. For right now, we could probably expect a little bit more pullback, maybe into the EMA, although price does sometimes continue without retesting the EMA for quite a while. So that would be nice to just see a small pullback, maybe into some of these structures over here, and then continue on up like so. All right, so let's go take a look at Bitcoin. Second to last highest high would probably be. Are you talking about this one right here? The one right before the huge drop? Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Yeah, so Bitcoin, I was getting so many notifications from the Watcher Guru and whatever else. So Bitcoin had all cryptos realistically had a very, very strong sell-off. On the weekly time frame, we pulled back into this weekly area of interest. I expected price to kind of drop a little bit lower, maybe retesting this EMA, and we could potentially still do that. We have this previous structure that we could be using as a resistance. Daily time frame is still bearish. We have used the daily EMA as a resistance and pushed to the downside before. Now, the reaction we're getting off this weekly area of interest is a little bit more aggressive than I anticipated. So we might actually just continue to push on up from here. But like I said, if we do continue to sell, it would most likely be down to here, retesting previous structure, this structure, and the EMA as we have multiple times in the past in order to see a continuation to the upside. I wouldn't actively trade this. It's more of like a long-term investment, and you guys already know that. So for now, we did break above the 4 hour EMA, so we might see a pullback, previous structure, and continuation into this next area of interest. SPX, the S&P 500, is now looks like it's going to be breaking through these highs pretty soon. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish or bearish. Sorry, we haven't closed above this high. And 4 hour time frame is currently still bearish, but that should change pretty soon. Nasdaq and US 30, same thing. US 30 had a huge push today. Weekly time frame. If we close as is, we'll shift bullish. Daily time frame will also shift bullish, and 4 hour time frame is already bullish. So seeing quite a bit of buyers re-entering this market and pushing it to the upside, even after Trump and his tariffs have been um, wreaking havoc to the markets. So we could see what happens there. Gold, gold's an interesting one. So we are finally starting to see an aggressive pullback on gold. How far we might pull back to, I have no idea. My initial thought was that we're going to pull back into the 2 hour EMA because that's how we usually trade. We usually stay above this 2 hour EMA, but we finally broke underneath. So now what we might see is a pullback into the 2 hour EMA to sell. That could be an idea. It seems like we do that sometimes. We break underneath, we sell. We break above, we buy. We break underneath, we sell. So that's something that I would consider looking for. If we break back above, then we'll continue to watch for buys. But as of right now, we're underneath the 4 hour and underneath the 2 hour EMAs, and we created a double top right here. So a retest of the neckline would be appropriate for some downward potential on this pair. I don't know how far down gold will go. It's always been bullish. Like overall, long term, it's continued to go up, but I think we're due for a pullback. I think we're due for a pullback, and that pullback might happen. I mean, the only area of interest that I can see is right here. Now, that pullback on gold would literally be like, I mean, from the top, oops, 20%. 20% is quite a lot. 25%. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Probably a smaller pullback and then a continuation to the upside. Um, the dollar index. Dollar index is overall still bearish on the weekly time frame. We had a huge bullish week. We had a pullback week. We might see some bullish continuation. Daily time frame is bullish. Retested EMA, retested previous structure, retested area of interest, and we might just buy back into this area of interest right here. As of right now, that really seems like the only option here. 4 hour time frame is bullish and daily time frame is bullish. But we are retesting this double top. So if we do start see sellers, they would start happening, or they'd start coming into the market very, very soon. CAD JPY we already went over. We'll continue to hold that one. USD CAD. USD CAD weekly time frame, bullish. We had a doji last week. Daily time frame bullish, and 4 hour time frame is bullish, but we just broke underneath this EMA here. So we might see some sellers coming into this market. Is that a trade that we took? I guess so, yeah. We might start seeing some sellers coming into this market, maybe pushing us down into this other area of interest. What I'd like to see after this selling candle is probably a doji before we continue pushing up. So as of right now, I'm not really interested in taking any trades on USD CAD unless we manage to break back above this 4 hour EMA. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen, at least not tomorrow. So GBP CAD. GBP CAD is a trade that we were looking at as well. Now, remember, we had this kind of marked up like this and like this, just to visualize the area we're currently struggling to break out of. Daily time frame is stuck inside of this little triangle, and we reached the top once again. We broke above this little area of interest, and I thought we were going to retest in order to buy. I just slapped a little buy position right there. And as you can see, that's not what happened. We're back inside of the triangle. And until we break out, we're not interested in trading it. So not interested right now. GBP USD weekly time frame, bearish. Daily time frame, bearish. We had retested EMA. Now we're selling. 4 hour time frame, we just broke underneath the 4 hour EMA, but we're also kind of wedged between the 4 hour EMA and the daily area of interest. We have 1, 2, 3 structure points. So yeah, price could break back above the 4-hour EMA and we start to see buyers coming into the market, or we could be retesting this 4-hour EMA, retesting the 30-minute EMA, and selling to the downside, which could be, I'm not going to lie, could be what's happening right now. So let's see, if we were going to enter, it would look something like this. And then we would sell daily, sell into the daily profit target right here, 1 to 4. So that is an option for a trade. We have 2 bearish time frames, daily, weekly, and the 4-hour is currently, well, actually it's bearish as well. We created a higher high, shift the structure, pull back, and I'm not sure why I didn't look at this yesterday, but it looks like we shifted bearish, pulled back, retested the neckline, and sold. So I guess the entry was somewhere within these candles over here. But for right now, it would be nice to see price break underneath and get another retest to sell to the downside. I think that would be fantastic. I'm not really interested in entering at the current moment. I don't know. We'll see. I don't like how we had this downward structure and then we broke above. I guess we may have swept some liquidity above all of this consolidation and then we might push to the downside. That's an option. Now let's look at Euro USD, which is very, very similar to GBP USD. So Euro USD, on the other hand, is bullish on the weekly, bearish on the daily, and 4-hour time frame is currently bullish as well. Or sorry, we shifted bearish. So it's bearish right now. Initially, I was looking for price to react from the EMA and buy. Now we are currently retesting this double bottom right here. And we could expect to see a pullback potentially into this previous structure, into the area of interest, into the EMA to sell. Now that we have the weekly time frame and the daily time frame in sync for sells. Sorry, no, the weekly time frame is bullish. The daily and the 4-hour are in sync for sells. GBP USD has the weekly time frame bearish. So as of right now, we could expect to see this. If we break back above this area, above the EMA retest, then we could take the buys. Because at that point, the 4-hour will go bullish and we will have the weekly and the 4-hour timeframes in sync. So both of these are currently available to trade and we will keep an eye on them as well. USD JPY. USD JPY, bullish on the weekly time frame, daily time frames bullish. We retested this area of interest. We're still kind of far away from the EMA. I think we retested the 4-hour. No, we broke underneath the 4-hour and then broke back above. So yeah, retested the daily area of interest perfectly, retested previous structure perfectly. And just like CAD JPY, I mean, they're basically identical. We can see buyers in this market. And this one is actually a little bit ahead of CAD JPY. When I entered CAD JPY right here, USD JPY was already like all the way up here. So here we would be about a 1-to-1, whereas right here we're currently at a 1-to-3. So that's actually really, really nice. I saw this pair start to take off, and then I watched for an entry on this one. What can we expect from USD JPY? Probably just a pullback into some kind of a previous structure, maybe the EMA, and then continue to buy. That would be pretty standard. We have an inverted head and shoulders, pull back to the neckline, and continuation from there. AUD CHF. So we were waiting for these pairs to pull back into the EMA, into the area of interest. Euro CHF is currently still pulling back. GBP CHF, same thing. And USD CHF is already at the area that we want it to be at. Now we're just waiting for Reason to be selling. Daily time frame looks pretty good. It would be nice to see a bearish engulfing candle from here. But I think that if we wait for an engulfing candle, as you can see, most of the engulfing candles that we get are very aggressive. So we don't want to be selling from all the way down here. Yeah, so now we're just going to be waiting for an entry signal. I don't like the way this candle is going to close. It's going to close very, very aggressively. Bullish engulfing above the area of interest. We might see some more buyers, maybe push price back up into the daily EMA. That could be something that happens. As you can see, whenever we sell, we usually pull back into the daily EMA, sell, pull back, sell, pull back. So maybe price will pull back a little bit higher than what we have marked up right now. AUD. Anyways, there are two options right now. There is the option of wherever we are, and then there's the option of a little bit higher. That's why it's important to keep an eye on the lower time frames. The 4 hour time frames are all still currently very bearish. This one has created a lower low. You could almost consider this to be bullish because of this little elbow right here. Two candlestick pullback, engulfing, and then a turnaround. So that one could be considered as bullish. Anyways, I am still interested in trading these. I just want to see some proper confirmation before hopping in. Okay, so we've already gone through GBP CAD, USD CAD, Euro GBP. Euro GBP, weekly time frame, bullish daily time frame, sitting right here on top of the EMA, and 4 hour time frame is currently bullish. So we have two time frames in sync. Still not fantastic price action. Still pretty choppy. We're kind of just moving sideways. Like I had marked up here, it would be nice to see price break above the EMA, above the area of interest, and then we could look for some buys. Maybe something as quick as this. You break above, quick retest, and then buy. That would be good to see. So right now, I'm not interested in that. AUD USD weekly time frame, bearish. Daily time frame under the EMA, bearish. 4 hour time frame has we ever break? No, we never broke above this structure point, so we're still bearish there. We look to be creating a head and shoulders pattern on AUD USD, so we might see a pullback to sell. That could be a possibility there. In fact, that would be really, really good to see, especially if this daily candle closes as is. So let's say the daily candle closes like this. Then tomorrow, all we have to look for is a pullback wick and then a bearish candle that closes to the downside. That would be exactly what we want to see there. So here, pullback to sell. AUD CAD. AUD CAD had the pullback into the area of interest. I mean, literally to the T. Perfectly retested. I think it's a 4 hour area of interest. There's not much other structure there. Yeah, 4 hour area of interest. It's a counter trend trade. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish. And I guess there is two time frames in sync, but you're trading against the weekly time frame. As of right now, I don't really see another entry, maybe a pullback into the EMA. I don't really like trading in the middle of nowhere. So not interested there. NZD USD, NZD USD is bearish on the weekly, daily time frame, pulling back into previous structure. So we're still waiting on this pullback to be completed. So I'm probably not going to be too eager to enter this. I will add it to the list. So we have a bunch of USD pairs and we're expecting all of them to sell. NZD USD, AUD USD are basically the same. GBP USD and Euro USD are also basically the same. And then CHF pairs are all basically the same as well. So a lot of repetitive price action going around. AUD CAD, we already talked about it. NZD CAD is going to be the same thing as NZD USD or the same thing as AUD CAD. Still expecting sells. Waiting for some nicer price action to show up. We're kind of just trading sideways right now, kind of like in this little channel. I guess like so. So yeah, once we break out, then maybe you could consider taking a trade. But until then, I'm not interested. JPY. Okay, so these JPY pairs are all going to be moving similarly to the CAD JPY trade we are currently in. We had a huge push, daily time frame, weekly time frame, huge engulfing candle, weekly pullback. I mentioned it last week. Now we have a bullish price action setting up. We had bearish, lower low. We had a shift of structure. We had a pullback, and now we are pushing to the upside. This one has already created the higher high. Wow. Weekly time frame, very bullish. Daily time frame, also very bullish. And 4-hour time frame has already created that next structure point. So we are now bullish from here all the way up to here. If you want to count, okay, maybe you could count this as an elbow. That right there counts as a small elbow because it engulfed the previous candle. So yeah, we're bullish from here all the way up to here. And now we could probably expect a little pullback, previous structure, continuation. AUD JPY, same thing. We have created a head and shoulders pattern, retested the neckline. Neckline also happens to have an area of interest. Beautiful structure for buys. Same thing, shoulder, head, shoulder, retest the neckline. That seems to be the pattern. One more. This one's even cleaner than the previous ones, except for the fact that we didn't really get a shift of structure until very recently. Here, price was bearish. We went bullish. Then we went bearish again. We only very recently closed above the EMA. But, you know, here we went bullish with this candle. And then the next candle pulled back, retested the neckline, retested the EMA, and is now pushing up. So this is probably the cleanest one of all of them. Except for your entry would be above, okay, you're above the 30-minute EMA, which is very important. That's one of the confluences that I'm using right now. That has helped me kind of limit my losses recently. So 30-minute EMA, very, very important for swing trading. At least if you can line up the 30-minute EMA and the 4-hour EMA, and then you're golden. Except for here, your entry confluence would be like a 3-minute engulfing candle. It's not really ideal for entries. So that's the only downside right there. Euro CAD, but for these, all of these JPY pairs, we probably just expect a continuation to the upside. I don't really expect another pullback to retest neckline, but if it does, you could maybe look for an entry. For all these JPY pairs, the same thing would apply. Euro CAD, weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish. We are currently pulling back. We pulled back a bit further than expected. We even broke underneath the EMA. Now, price does this sometimes. For example, right here, we created a higher high. We created a like the highest point in the market's history. Then we broke underneath the EMA, then we broke back above and we continued to buy. So that's something you could expect. If you want to take risky buys, you can take them from right here. I wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend is waiting for this to happen where price breaks back above, retest the EMA again, and then you get your continuation to the upside from there. So wait for the break, retest, buy, and then you'll be good to trade this. EuroCAD, I would be interested in taking something like this only once price gets back above this 4-hour EMA. Euro NZD, weekly time frame bullish. We closed with a bearish or a doji. It was a bullish doji candle on the weekly time frame. Daily time frame is currently having a pullback, higher high, looking for the higher low. Now, only issue is we don't really have an area of interest. We kind of have 4-hour areas of interest, which aren't as good as the others. We are creating a invert or a regular head and shoulders pattern right here. So we created a regular head and shoulders, pulled back into the neckline and sold. 4 hours bearish, dailies bullish. Not my favorite. I would prefer to take buys with the higher time frames. So with the weekly, with the daily. So all we're going to wait for is realistically a doji candle or an engulfing candle that would signify the end of the sellers. We could try to take buys from one of these areas of interest, but as you see, we still have this head and shoulders pattern that has been created. So potentially waiting for a shift of the 4-hour time frame to go bullish, pull back, and then continuation, because we are bearish from right here down to here. So this would be pretty nice. Break above, retest, buy. Okay, so weekly time frame, daily time frame. We're above the EMA here. We are above the EMA here. 4-hour time frame also above the EMA, except for we have a head and shoulders. We retest the neckline. 30-minute time frame just broke below the 30-minute EMA. We retested and sold. So, I mean, pretty nice for sells. This would have been your entry. Stop loss could go pretty tight or it could go conservative. Very, very counter trend trade. I think. Wait, let me see. Daily time frame, bullish. Yeah. So you have one time frame in sync. Your 4-hour. Excuse me. I don't know. It's always this time, 7:30 p.m. My body starts shutting down. I start yawning. I don't go to bed until like 9, so I don't know what the problem is. Weekly time frame is bullish. Yeah, I don't really like this price action here. It's not my favorite, so we're just not going to be interested in that right now. Counter trend trades are available. I mean, this is pretty much like a little trend line that price has been following. The only problem here is like where am I going to target? Am I going to target daily structure? Am I going to try to test my luck and see if we can get to the EMA again? It's a little risky. It's a little risky, especially since we're still above this 4-hour EMA. You can see how much price tried to break above it. We were unable, and now price is trying to break under it. Maybe we won't be able to do that either. So you could maybe take a 1-to-1 trade or maybe a tighter stop loss. You get a 1-to-2, but I'm personally not too excited about that. Okay, here weekly time frame, bullish daily time frame. Same thing as GBP AUD, also bullish. We are above the EMAs, or at least this EMA here, 4-hour time frame. We are trying to break underneath. So we have actually closed underneath and we have retested the area of interest. We'll see how this candle closes in the next 30 minutes, but I'm not too hopeful for that. I don't love the price action that we've been having here. Like since this huge push up, everything's just been like sideways, you know? So if you want to trade within this what's the word I'm looking for? Confinement, like you don't have like other areas for price to go, then go ahead and scalp to the bottom, to the top, somewhere in between. Um, but I would prefer something that's a little more trendy. Yeah. The buys right here would have been fantastic. You have a push, pull back into the EMA, and then buy. I mean, take profit would have been right here, schmacked, and then you're out of the trade, right? Weekly time frame, bullish. Daily time frame, bullish. 4-hour time frame, creating a head and shoulders. Retest, sell. I wish that these weren't so counter trend, but so many of them are. I can only imagine that they're going to sell into this area of interest here. Daily area of interest. Even though we've already used it, the next best option is this daily previous structure, um, which I wouldn't be surprised if price pushed into here and then completely turned around and pushed up. Until price gets to here or to here, I'm not interested. CAD CHF, waiting for this pullback to happen. NZD CHF, we have already pulled back into this previous structure. From here, we will either see sellers arriving back in this market, which could happen. You have 1, 2, 3 structure points, bam, and then back to selling. Or we break above this and go and retest this daily structure right here, which isn't an area of interest either. It is just another previous structure, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure or 5 structure points and touches in that area. So there's really no need for us to use all the CHF pairs. In fact, I'm probably going to remove some of them. Okay, so I'm not too fond of GBP CHF. Euro CHF is still tradable. I like how aggressively price moves from these areas of interest. So if we do happen to find ourselves back up inside of this area, I would love to take sells from there once again. AUD CHF is very similar to, not very similar, but similar enough. I think I'm still going to go with USD CHF. We've seen how price moves in these types of areas. All we're really waiting for is a pullback into the EMA. Once price arrives in this EMA, then I'll be looking to trade this. But until then, I will be patient. USD CHF, since we're already in the other CHF pair, or not CHF, USD JPY, still going to be waiting on that. Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, NZD USD, all really good. It's hard to pick one. So we're going to pick two, okay? Since these two are the same and these two are the same, let's just pick the best one out of both. I think AUD USD is slightly better than NZD USD, although the market structure here is much cleaner. This is a very hard choice. The reason that I like this one is because it's simple. All we're waiting for is a little wick. We're not expecting the wick to go all the way up to here. It just needs to be this big, and then we can sell to the downside. We have a head and shoulders setting up on the 4-hour time frame. NZD USD, we're still kind of far away from our area of interest, although yeah, although it would be nice to tap into it once again. Weekly time frame. What would the weekly area of interest look like? That's huge. That's like an entire trade worth of pips. Daily area of interest it is. Okay, so we have this touch right here. Structure point, structure point, and then I guess we could just do this, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we have quite a few. I guess we're inside of the area of interest, but I feel like I cheated by doing that. Um, anyways, we're just gonna remove GBP USD. Yeah, this one's playing out as expected. So these are going to be the trades that we kind of focus on, starting with GBP USD. GBP USD is in a pretty prime place to take the trade. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is bearish. We pulled back into the EMA. We pulled back into the head and shoulders neckline. This area of interest can actually be adjusted. Four-hour time frame was bullish, then we shifted bearish, pullback, broke underneath the 4-hour EMA, maintained price action underneath the 30-minute EMA. My stop loss would go slightly above this wick right here. And that's really all you need. Your take profit would have to be right here. So that's like a 1 to 2.5. If I was going to send a signal, I'd send one probably very, very soon. If not, like 2-hour bearish engulfing. 30-minute, yeah. I mean, price is already moving. So that one's definitely ready first. AUD USD should be next. We're basically waiting for the daily candle to close, and then tomorrow to have a small pullback and then sell. And NZD USD is right after that. We're just waiting for price to sell out of this area of interest right here to the downside. So all of these are basically just pull back to sell, pull back to sell, and pull back to sell. EuroCAD waiting for a break and retest above the 4-hour EMA to trade with the higher time frames. USD CHF waiting for a deeper pullback, and Euro CHF also waiting for a deeper pullback to sell. So these are going to be the pairs that I focus on personally. And then this is the trade that I am just going to continue to hold. And starting today, I'm going to do a small little like account flip challenge thing, starting with a small 5K funded account or account challenge. So next signal I take, I will probably full port that little 5K account just to try to pass it as quickly as possible. And then try to get a payout. It's on Funding Pips. So I can get express payouts on demand or whatever they're called. No, on demand requires a consistency score. Tuesday payday. That's what I'm going to be trying to do. So hopefully by next Tuesday, if not the Tuesday after that, I'll get a first little payout, maybe $100, $200, use that to buy a bigger account, and then continue to do that and see how far we get just for fun, just to see how consistent I can try to be, and just to show you guys that it's possible, even with only like $50. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated. And yeah, thank you guys for joining. Do you have any questions? All good. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I will post this recording as soon as possible. It usually takes about 15, 20 minutes for it to download to my computer, and then I'll post it in the recording section and then also on YouTube. So yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Nice new look. Yeah, it's just a haircut. I mean, my birthday was last Friday, so I just swung by the barber store. They gave me the typical Turkish haircut. Can't complain. All right. Have a good one.